Finch-Saunders.
I thank Claire Griffiths for introducing this report to this chamber, but also for his able chairmanship of our committee. Now, of course, we know that the much delayed corporate plan landed in 2023, and we had been asking for this. And this is the first one since 2018. That is the first one since the Welsh Government declared a climate emergency, the first one since COVID, the first one since different varying announcements by UK Government in terms of how seriously they were taking climate change. So whilst we're quite relieved as a committee to receive this report, I've got to be honest, this delay doesn't bode well for the level, or does it not reflect the level of commitment we would expect from Wales' primary environmental regulatory body. Now, some of the points you made there, Chairman, is about the ability to do their work. And given the number of complaints that I receive from all sorts of, sort of farmers, land, in terms of land pollution, in terms of water pollution and things, I know the resources are stretched. But at the end of the day, we need an environmental enforcement team that actually is able to work appropriately. Now, we're concerned at the abolishment of service level agreements, how that will impact on NRW's ability to ensure their resources reflect their full statutory duties and functions. In our report, we highlighted that SLAs can serve a valuable purpose for prioritisation, and that we would like NRW to share with us an outline of the next phase of the SLA work, including the areas to be covered and a timeline for their development and implementation. However, Welsh Government feel that they should be abandoned, and I am worried now that we will not be able to effectively identify and scrutinise the 10 areas that NRW themselves consider priorities. The Welsh Government explained they will be taking learning from the development and implementation of the SLAs. I'm not really sure what that means. I would like to know how this is going to be possible, especially considering, as was pointed out by Chris Davis in committee, that SLAs had been paused partly because of financial pressure. And financial pressure, in my book, should never mean less scrutiny. If financial constraints have previously hindered the development and implementation of these SLAs, how does NRW now intend to clearly define the resources needed to ensure the successful achievement of this corporate plan that's taken so long to achieve? Additionally, how will the Welsh Government determine the necessary resources to deliver various service levels across the 10 priority areas? In line with Recommendation 3, and based on what I've just mentioned, the committee does look forward to receiving the much promised, after October the 31st, an update on the progress of developing the final strategic indicators and performance metrics, and how they align with this new corporate plan. But we also need assurances. NRW is facing a significant shortfall in its budget, and as such is having to make sweeping cuts to vital areas. And I'll endorse the point you've made there, Claire. This is not about the NRW staff. They work incredibly hard, and quite often they're seconded to different projects. And you can tell this is an organisation that's juggling its priorities. I've already been contacted by the UK MTB Trail Alliance, who are deeply concerned that because we have 500 kilometres of mountain bike trails across Wales, and NRW have hinted that some of these sort of activities and things, whether they will be able to maintain those trails. Because, that's a really good, healthy sport, isn't it? People getting off into the forest on mountain bikes. So it will greatly reduce public access to outdoor leisure activities, which in turn could have a serious negative impact on health and well-being. So you've got to look at the costs of that and the tourism industry that North Wales so heavily depends on. I understand from NRW's response, they've identified certain areas where they've decided to cease activities altogether, believing they are no longer best positioned to deliver them. So then how are those areas going to be, where's the transition in? Who's going to be picking up the slack for those areas that have been prioritised in the past. Have you, as the Cabinet Secretary, been updated on what areas these are? If this is the case, will NRW clarify how they plan to hand over these responsibilities? Will it be other organisations, community groups and volunteers needed to step in? NRW is expected to report to this committee within 6 months on the status of its visitor centres. Again, I've had concerns raised with people who really value. That's recommendation 7. But they sadly appear to be significantly lacking in awareness of nearly half the features on sites of special scientific interest. And we value those in Wales because of insufficient staff and resources to maintain required conservation levels. Simply put, there are many areas of responsibility falling within the remit of NRW, and the lack of funding appears to be putting so many of these now at serious risk. With further job...
I've been very generous already, Janet, so if you could draw your comments to a close.
So basically, I'm asking you, Cabinet Secretary, give us some assurances here today as to how some of the priorities they're going to be downscaling now will be taken forward.